Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed the intro to the wonderful world of algae. So normally if we weren't in quarantine, I was going to do a lab where we were going to cook with algae. So algae has a really, it's a really gelling kind of property. So it's starting to be used in cooking more and more, especially with like vegan cooking becoming more popular. So you can actually extract goo from algae and then make pudding with it. But it's pretty gross, so you should probably get some professionals to do it. So you can buy this thing called agar-agar, and it's really popular in vegan recipes because instead of having that gelling be done by gelatin, which is made from animal bones, it's algae that does it. So this is just a recipe for pudding. I'm just gonna add half a teaspoon of agar. You don't need a lot, it goes a long way. You can just order it on Amazon. Even during a pandemic, good to know. You can make your vegan pudding. Okay. So I'll just let that simmer for a bit, and I'll take you over to my other counter. So the next part of this lesson that I want you guys to do is go through your cupboards and see if you can find some algae. So I actually have some actual dried algae from a seaweed farm in Maine. So these are just different kelps that have been dried. So seaweed is often used as like a nutritional supplement because it's really high in iodine, vitamin C, omega-3s. So it has a lot of nutritional properties. It does not taste great on its own, so a lot of people blend it up and make soup broth. So this is a soup mix, and I'm sure you guys know about dulse, which is a really popular food around here. So there's actually a photo of dulse in the PowerPoint, and this is what it looks like dried. So there are lots of other uses for algae, as I talked about in the PowerPoint. So some of the things just in my house, so craft singles actually contain I think it's carrageenan. So that basically just makes them stabilized because there's not actually a lot of cheese. So cheese is normally held together with fat, but because this isn't really real cheese, it's held together with algae. So just if you wanted to know. So common things you'll find algae substitutes in is like dairy that's like not really dairy. So it's kind of like diet dairy or fake dairy or cheap dairy, and no judgment, whatever you want to eat. Also like diet foods, so like 100% whole wheat things. We'll try to use carrageenan to try and like hold it together and make it soft because it's not necessarily as effective as just using full flour. Butter chicken sauce. So again, these are kind of like food products that are trying to be cheaper. So instead of using dairy, they'll use seaweed. So this has carrageenan in it to make it have like a nicer texture. You'll also find it in cosmetics. So again, this has like spirulina extract, and spirulina is an algae. Again, just it's more natural, and then again, it's not taken from animals. And then also like algae is really common in gardening. So this is like some fertilizer with seaweed in it because it is really high in nutrients, especially phosphorus. So who knew? Algae is a big part of our lives. So the last part, just the assignment, is like, guys, I want you to find an article on algae. So some key things that would be helpful is maybe searching for example, carrageenan in diet foods was kind of an issue for a while because a certain way of treating the carrageenan, there's some evidence that's actually bad for people. And they used to put in a lot of organic foods because it would make them more like palatable or like more like health conscious, but not really. So that's one issue. Another is toxic algae blooms are really interesting if you wanted to check some of those out. I have all these written down in your document. You can send me an email if you have questions. But yeah, thanks for taking the lesson. Bye.